take 5 minutes to introduce the cell, set the context, and talk about the genesis of why we took up employability and skilling, and why is it more of a relevant topic for social development as well as a business opportunity for business school students. So since we have this cell at a business school, the ultimate objective has to be that the students can come up with business opportunities which can tackle these issues. Now look at this image. What does it indicate? Like if you were talking about 1990s, we would have said that this is called population explosion. But suddenly, I think 2010, in the last 5 years, we've been discussing more about it as a demographic dividend. Now, I've been grappling with these issues for a while now. Like what has changed over the past 2 decades that we've suddenly moved from a very alarming, tragic issue that the country is facing in terms of population. And suddenly we started talking about it more like an advantage that this is going to be the engine of our growth and we're going to be a superpower in the next 20, 30 years. And this population is going to help us be one of the most powerful countries in the world. So that is what got me thinking, or got us thinking at the cell about what is it, that how do we look at this issue. We just looked at few numbers. Like in 2025, simplify the numbers for easy understanding here. We'll have a population of around 1.2 billion people. That's a large number. 700 million will be the working age population in India itself. We'll have around 200 million graduates. Now, enough has been said by the IT industry and others about how our graduates are unemployable and we need to have better quality institutions. We need to have more institutions in this country. So at least this issue we've spoken and heard enough. What I was more worried about is the 500 million others who will be there who will not graduate. So you'll have only 13% graduates coming in every year into the workforce. So what do we do with the 500 million? And that is where we started thinking about employability and skilling. Like you'll have to use this population and do something with it. So you'll have to provide them jobs, you'll have to train them, you have to ensure that they're productive so that at least the social tensions are not there. With the economic development, at least the aspirations are also rising. So how you could have satisfied the same youth with many lesser opportunities 20 years back, but the same thing will not hold true in 2010 or even 2025. So let me just give you a broad, a simple understanding of the skilling and employability ecosystem. A simplistic chart which shows that we start with financing, which is required to finance demand. Student has to pay fees or somebody has to pay fees. As of now, what we expect is either the government has government funds or the industry will be expected to train their own employees. Neither the students at the 500 million have the affordability to take these programs, nor the banks lend for these programs. Training delivery, government also plays a role. You get certification assessments and job market. But training providers give their own certifications. All the students who enroll pass. So there's no signaling value here. It's a one-way street where training delivery is ad hoc, where each training provider comes up with their own curriculum, own syllabus, and the students are put out in the market. Only thing we understand today is that we need to train and put them to jobs. All the other white boxes are the plug holes which we don't understand very well as yet. So there's a market failure, as we all know. Test prep market is picked up. We have enough coaching centers. But vocational training, something is wrong. So that is what we're trying to understand. Like largely it's government driven. Government tenders also promote participation of large players only. We'll have lack of mechanism to finance the demand side. Students don't get, like we get 20 lakh loans. It's easy for us to get into ISB and get the program done. But for a 20,000 rupee loan or 15,000 rupee loan, it's very difficult for them to get going. And the business is also difficult. So what the panelists will speak about in the session, quality delivery, employee linkages, and filling up classrooms, utilization of asset, utilization of trainers, reducing cost of acquisition of customers. All these are big issues that the practitioners are facing. So we have an employment market which looks like this. It's like a flea market, where your employers don't know where to access talent from, where your training providers don't know what are the skills for which they need to train, and students will get jobs. The students don't know which are the jobs which they should get trained for and where will they find access to markets. So this is what started, like how do we now start tackling these issues? What do we need to do in terms of research? Can we be a central think tank in this country where we can help the government and the industry to come up with solutions? and not expecting government to set up institutions which can fund this, but trying to understand if we can develop business models which can make profits are scalable and help the industry in this area. So what we expect to do, ideally, if we expect that what will the cell achieve in the next 5 to 10 years, we would want to see the employment market like this. And what do I mean by this? So we'll have this kind of a system where the job market signals that these are the jobs which are available. These are the standards which we want. So if you give me a candidate which meets my standard, I hire them. So they specify the certification and independent assessment which needs to be there. Financing needs to come in, where students finance, because when they pay money and they quit a job and go to another company, the company is just, it's like a leasing model for them. They don't need to spend the entire money of training on a particular candidate and then expect him to leave in 6 months or 1 year. And the industry needs to step up. So this is the broad change that we are looking at. So we're studying financing, certification assessments, and getting financing worked out. So for this reason, we set up the cell for employability and skilling. As Nidhi mentioned, Dr. Reddy has been very kind and generous in funding this cell. The mission is to demonstrate that markets and business sector can play a big role in creating capacity and human resources for economic growth. So what we'll be doing is we'll research market-based solutions. Like that's the main mandate. And solutions which we can test on the field, test the feasibility and pilot them on the ground. And if they are scalable, then come up with a large scalable model which is executed. And the key criteria will be they have to be catalytic in nature, affordable, profitable, scalable and replicable. These are the 4 areas where we study typically: role of finance, role of policy, role of information networks and role of technology. And how can we use these levers to get the market going? Well, the last slide, these are the 5 areas where we are working on. So just to put things in context so that during the discussion, maybe this panelists can throw some light on how can ISB contribute, the cell contribute. So we want to set skill benchmarks and deploy a low-cost skills assessment infrastructure which can be used by all the trainers in the country. Like we see a large fragmented market taking place in the next 10 years. And there has to be some sanity in the system, some standardization which can be there. Technology tools which could be used to deliver content and to assess candidates from remote locations. Accreditation and rating systems for training providers. Design outcome-based financing schemes, products. Try and see if voucher systems can be put in, skills voucher. Like you talk about school vouchers a lot, but at least there the end user doesn't have he's not an adult or she is not an adult and can't make a choice. But at least for the vocational training market, adult learning, you can have skills vouchers which can work very well. Because they have the understanding to make a choice. And the information systems to connect employers, candidates and trainers. So these are the 5 areas that we are researching in. This is just to set the context. And now I would like to start presentations from the speakers. I would like to call upon Santosh to introduce our first panelist. Thank you very much.